Hello. In this video I'm going to show you how you can create a tensor with PyTorch. And for this I've already created a script called createTensor.py, and in here I have created certain chunks. The first one is reserved for the packages. Here in this case we are only going to need torch, so we can import it directly and run this chunk. Once we run it, we can see that this interactive window is opening up at the right hand side with the environment in which we are working, and if there is a green check mark, everything is loaded correctly. And now we can create our first tensor from scratch. We can do it like this. So we just have to call torch.tensor. In here we can pass a list or lists inside the list and create our tensor. Let's just check that. So this is our tensor, and it has certain properties, like for example the data type. It tries to infer the right data type based on the numbers which are inserted here. If we change it and take some float number, we will see that we get a slightly different data type. Before we had int64, now it's changing to float32. But also we could directly specify it during the creation. So if we are sure we want to have a float32 data type, we can directly do that during the creation. We can also say on which device the tensor is going to live. So in this course we are mostly working with CPU due to simplicity, and most of you are going to have just a CPU and not a GPU. So this should be the default. And then there is a parameter for specifying whether the gradient should be required as well. So we will also run this, and then we can also check it here and run requires grad. So once we have set it here with this parameter, the gradient is required as well. If we don't set that, then there won't be any gradient calculation. So by default, this is not part of the tensor, but this is one of the core features which we are going to use with PyTorch, the automatic gradient calculation. This is making your life much easier. If the tensor was created without activated gradients, we can also set it to true with this command. So with requires grad underline, we can just call that and check it with this property requires grad, and this will also set the gradient to true. More on that in upcoming lectures. But with this you have just learned how you can create a tensor very simply in PyTorch, and that's it for this video. Thank you and goodbye.